Hey guys, I just got finished playing a pretty interesting game using a custom TsareenaEX deck list that I'm calling Icebox here. Just a quick look at the deck list here in case you're interested. I'll go ahead and just scroll down slowly. You can always pause this if you're interested in taking a look at it. But yeah, there's quite a few iterations I've been playing around with here, and I don't know, this one is more or less kind of a final form. I don't know, there could still be a few tweaks and adjustments here and there. I might do a deck tech showcase on it at some point, but for this particular video, I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the game here so we can take a look at it. We are going to be playing against a kind of a Meowscarada deck. Go ahead and jump in here, start up the replay. Start taking a look. So go ahead and flip the coin. I'm pretty sure we called heads, yeah. So we'll go ahead and go second, which using this deck list is a pretty huge advantage. I think generally speaking, this deck it just handles a lot better going second. Being able to like play your supporter cards to kind of fetch things out of your deck is a lot nicer. Oh, it looks like we got an extra card too off of a mulligan. So kind of interesting seeing like how things played out. Even though it was like a recently played game, I don't actually remember all the details of it, honestly. It's usually how it goes. But we're up against a Hoppip here to start with, which is a little bit of an unorthodox pick, although if anyone watched I did like a really long video on kind of TsareenaEX and all the different texts surrounding Vanillux, and Hoppip was one Pokemon that was kind of explored a little bit, along with Meowscarada. We have a Capturing Aroma coming down. So basic Pokemon for Tails. So there's that Sprigatito. And so we opened up with Bounsweet and a Radiant Tsareena. Radiant Tsareena is still a card I'm kind of like on the fence about including in the deck, but I've found that in mirror matchups, which are pretty rare still, but when they do happen, you kind of need a way to be able to remove damage from your Pokemon, and I've found that the Radiant Tsareena is one way of doing that. Also, one thing I think we were just doing there as well was just checking to see if it was worthwhile to even go for the technical machine, the TM. Which is, by the way, another huge advantage you get if you go second using this deck, is that you can use the TM to set up a huge evolution burst if you want to. We're going ahead and purposefully dumping the Braviary into the discard pile there for later on. And then also we're just checking, we're only going to take one grass energy, even though we could take two, because we're going to go ahead and Squawk and Seize for turn. So we don't want to unnecessarily dump energy out of our hand, because it's a very scarce resource in this deck. And we're going to go ahead and bench another Bounsweet, assuming that, you know, the first one might go down. And we slap on the TM, and we go ahead and Squawk and Seize. Now, unfortunately, we do have to throw away a Zoroark and a Vanillux there, which is not the best. It does kind of suck. But generally speaking, you need, with this deck, to be able to Squawk and Seize in almost every situation. You just need to be able to, like, plow through as much of your deck as humanly possible in a short amount of time as possible. So you usually go down to about 30 cards after one turn. But here you can see we already kind of scouted out our deck, and we were lucky enough not to draw into those two evolution cards. We only run one copy in the deck in this current list. I've experimented with two. It feels a little bit clunky if you include two, but if you only run one, it also feels kind of weird because sometimes they'll be prized, and sometimes you'll also draw into them while you're Squawk and Seizing. So it's a really weird, difficult balance I've been experimenting with, but in this current list we only had one of each copy. So we were lucky not to draw into them there, so that they stayed in the deck so we could use the TM to get them out. But now we're in a pretty decent spot. We can go ahead and Ultra Ball for one of our Stage 2 evolutions. Go ahead and do. I'm thinking here about dumping, whether or not I should dump the VMAX. We don't have the basic Vaporeon on our bench this game, so I go ahead and dump the VMAX. So we get our TsareenaEX online. I'm going to go ahead and Prof Research. See what we can draw into. and we're lucky enough to draw into a Grass Energy. Also grab a Vanilluxe off the bat, which is great. So we're actually already online, so it was a little bit lucky there. This is one of the reasons I kind of like to run the prof research in the deck, is that it does give you one extra card draw. So it can help you kind of put the odds in your favor when you're going through these draws, because being able to come online with full combination on turn 2 is a super ideal situation for us. So we have the Vanilluxe. We're able to start attempting to lock down our opponent's Pokemon using Icicle Soul. Jumpluff comes out right away though as a response, so instantly on like de-thawing, basically putting it out of that Frigid Room range. And they start swinging in with Fluffy Breeze, which does some damage to the bench, and they instantly go in to start targeting the Vanilluxe. I've found lately that people have actually figured out, finally, the Vanilluxe tech, and a lot of people try to focus down your Vanilluxe, which makes sense. That is what they should probably be targeting in most cases. There was a time there for like about a week or whatever when set first came out that people had no idea, you know, what was preventing them from attacking or whatever. No one was actually paying attention to Vanilluxe. But people are finally starting to pay attention to it now. Now, I'm going in with the Ultra Ball Hero Iris, hoping to get a Zoro Arc, but we don't have one available. So I opted to just go for a Vaporeon as a backup play. But of course, we've already also dumped the VMAX. I don't know if I was aware of that. But we might draw into something like a Clara. There is one Clara in the deck, so that might let us get our VMAX back. Honestly, I'd like to be able to fit more recursion into this deck list, but man, it's a really tight fit right now with what we're trying to accomplish. I don't know, might need to make some cuts and adjustments somewhere to see if we can, you know, make it run a little bit better. But man, when this deck, when it draws well, it draws really well. It does handle quite nicely. So we draw into another prof research here, which is fortunate. We do have Irida as well if we wanted to opt for that. It looks like I'm going to opt to dump the hand, because I realize I need to draw into energy to get our Trop Kick online and start, you know, clearing out some of Pokemon here. So we'll do an Elegant Heal, clear 20 damage from both Pokemon there, and then we're going to go in for the Trop Kick. This might have been a little bit of a misplay. I didn't think this was. I thought the Jumpluff had the Rapid Strike ability. This isn't the Rapid Strike Jumpluff. It's a different one that is able to avoid damage after a coin flip. And I think like the coin flip failed there. I think actually in the replay I go back and check, like, huh? How did it get knocked out? It's like, oh, okay, so there's like the coin flip ability or whatever, which I wasn't expecting. It might have just been a better play there to I think go in for an Icicle Soul on the Jumpluff instead to lock it up, and then proceed to kind of just use that to stall out. Because now that this Radiant Alakazam gets to come in and do a ton of damage to us, so a little bit of damage getting moved around there. Then Mind Ruler dropping 140 damage on the greatest. I mean, it's not a huge problem. We can't heal it off, but it is like kind of a significant chunk of HP. So we'll go ahead and heal. Not sure what the plan is from here. I guess we're gonna Arven and see what we can do. Looks like we're gonna grab a Candy, and we just grabbed Forest Sealstone. Actually, honestly, I'm not sure where that Vaporeon went that we had. I think we prof researched it away. But yeah, our deck, as you can see, is already very, very thin, down to 9 cards already. So that's part of what this deck does, is it comes online really, really quick and attempts to play the control game, but it burns through resources very quickly because we're running prof research instead of Iono, so it can be a little bit risky. And luckily we did draw into that Zoro Arc there from the prize cards, which is really nice for us. I guess it was unlucky to begin with that it was prized in the first place, but luckily we are able to pick that up because it is a fairly critical component in the deck that lets us kind of flexibly adapt and kind of deal with a whole bunch of different situations depending on the board state. So we have another Radiant Alakazam here coming back onto the bench from the Clara, and we again have another Skiploom up and hitting us in the face for a bunch of damage. The Vanilluxe is looking a little bit low on HP, so we can heal off a little bit of that, but damage is being dealt faster than we can heal it off, which is a little bit of a problem. We have a ton of rare candies in hand, but other than that, we're kind of in a top deck situation if our Tsareena goes down, which is not ideal. Unfortunately, we don't have access to that Vaporeon to do a Seal Stone for any particular cards, although to be honest, with only 8 cards left in the deck, we're kind of like stuck dealing with what we have on the board already. So it's a little bit of a dicey situation, but you gotta just kind of try to trust in what you've got on the board to get the job done. Part of what the deck does as well, part of the tech, is that we've dumped a lot of cards so that the Zoroark is able to Phantom transform into a lot of options. But now we see the Meowscarada finally comes down. Feels like it's a little bit late. It's kind of the mid game now at this point. Mid to late game. And Meowscarada finally coming down, and it's going to be able to do a ton of damage. Since the Tsareena already has a lot of, or at least some damage counters on it. So 220 damage coming down is the perfect amount to knock it out. So that's a really big problem for us because we are currently in a top deck situation. So I promote the Squawk ability here because we need to stall for time. And we draw. We do find an Ultra Ball, which is enough for us, I think, to go find a Tsareena. Luckily. And I'm just considering there, I guess, like what our options are. What we want to get rid of. So we drop 1 candy because we're not going to be able to use that many candies with the remaining time left. It looks like I was like halfway considering a Vaporeon to go for the Forest Seal Stone, but then I guess I just realized like there's no point in going for it. Take a look at what's left in the deck, which is not very much. I don't think I realized at the time like how much of our deck we'd already burned through. And of course our VMAX was already gone. I think I might have been thinking like, oh, maybe we can go into the Vaporeon VMAX and Bubble Pod or something as like a play line, but then I realized that the Vaporeon's already been put into the discard, so it's not an option for us. But luckily, we did get that Ultra Ball. We are running 4 of those in the list to make sure we have a good chance of getting them, because it's a pretty fundamental card for us. And yeah, I think I forget to Elegant Heal here, I think. So I don't think it, yeah, we forget to heal 20 damage off the Vanilluxe, which is actually somewhat important, I think. We should have healed that damage. That was definitely a mistake. So we have a Jacques coming in here. And you can see that our opponent is actually running TsareenaEX as well. So this is another variation that was covered in that like long video of kind of potential routes and like combinations you can try with TsareenaEX. And this is one that is running kind of like damage control and damage movement, using Meowscarada, Jumpluff to put damage onto the bench, the Radiant Alakazam to move damage around, and then getting Tsareena out as well, I guess, to kind of just dump a whole bunch of damage counters on people and then use the Alakazam and the Meowscarada to finish them off. So it's pretty interesting. It's kind of a showcase of like 2 different routes you can potentially build Tsareena around. Our list obviously has decided to build around pairing with Vanilluxe, whereas our opponent's list, we haven't really been able to see it too much, but it's a TsareenaEX plus Meowscarada deck at its core, it looks like. Maybe with like, I guess, Jumpluff as an optional pickup as well. I'm kind of surprised they aren't running the Rapid Strike Jumpluff though, because it does have that ability where it can get multiple knockouts in one turn. Which seems like it would pair pretty well with Tsareena. But yeah, so we have you can see here the damage management coming into effect there. I don't know if the extra 20 damage counters off would have mattered there. I actually don't think it would have. It looked like that was enough damage to comfortably deal with it, I think. It actually might have lived with 10 HP, I'm not sure. Either way, I should have healed that turn, regardless. But yeah, so we got more damage coming in. Looks like the next target up is going to be the Radiant Tsareena. You're going to heal off the damage there. And I think actually... Yeah, okay, so I give the thumbs up here because this is actually game. We actually have a secret technology here. So we're going to escape rope out our Tsareena and put out the Zoroark. If you remember back to the very start of the game, we dumped our Braviary into the discard pile. So we actually have the game in hand now. We're going to go ahead and pop the Zoroark out, Phantom transform into the Braviary. And then we have enough damage counters pre-applied to our opponent's bench to be able to score 4 prizes and close out the game. So we go ahead and do that. Luckily, Braviary is an insane card that takes no energy to attack for some reason, and we go ahead and score the triple knockout there to close out the game. So really close game. It might look here like it was like a sweep or something. We get the thumbs up back from the opponent, which is nice. I think that was a really well played game by both sides. It felt really intense. Honestly, I think there was a little bit of top deck magic in a few situations there. The Ultra Ball coming in right when we needed it was good. But yeah, so that was it. That was the game. And hopefully like a nice little showcase of what this deck list is capable of, but also like different options that you can go with for building around TsareenaEX. It really is an interesting card. I don't know if it's top tier. I've been really trying to experiment so hard with you know, different ways to build the deck. And I don't know, there's a lot of new threats out there to deal with. It feels like if you're trying to, with this deck, address every single part of the new meta that exists, it's, you know, there just isn't enough real estate in the deck to really respond to every single threat adequately. But you do what you can. Anyways, when the deck does work, it's a lot of fun to play. It's very much like a control deck, I guess, where you're trying to just lock down your opponent, and it's pretty satisfying when you're able to pull it off. Yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope it was interesting, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end things off here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye for now.